I have two important questions for you. If you were for sale on a shelf in the giant superstore of life, would people want to buy you? Picture it. They would pick you up, check your price, look you over, read your product description, and then check your price again. Would they buy you? Or would they set you back down and grab another man who looks like he's got more to offer? And here's one of the most important questions of your life. If you were for sale, what would your price tag be? Now, we don't fall for that feel-good crap. Not everyone's a perfect 10, right? Come on, we both know better. So really, if you were for sale, how much would you cost? Every man carries a price tag, whether he admits it or not. It's written on the quality of his knowledge, the strength of his skills, and the problems he can solve. It's the way he shows up every day and how he treats people, how he can handle pressure, and whether he raises the quality of a situation or lowers it. Being a more valuable man means you have more to give to others. Men have the expectation of action and performance. Women, they get to sit around looking pretty. We don't. As a man, you will be judged by what you know, what you can do, how much you earn, and the problems you can solve. Now, for thousands of years, society's determined that these things decide a man's level of value. That's not changing anytime soon, guys. So be it. Now, if you're getting overlooked in the giant superstore of life, you might think the answer is to lower your price tag to make yourself more affordable. But that is going in the wrong direction, because that makes you cheap. Cheap doesn't get respected, cheap breaks and gets replaced, or at best, ends up in a junk drawer. No. If you want to be noticed, appreciated, or even desired, you have to raise your value. Make yourself worth more by becoming more. I'm Ken Kowalsky, physical therapist, wrestling coach, husband of 27 years and dad of 4. For 30 years, I've watched men over 50 fade into sickness and death way before their time, and I'm sick of it. I wrote Grow or Die and built Second 50 Strong to prove the second half of your life can be your best years ever. I'm in my 50s right now and living this journey. If you refuse to fade and want more strength, purpose, and masculine edge to dominate your 60s, 70s, and beyond, this is for you. Let's get to work. Have you ever grabbed one of those no-name plastic spatulas from the dollar store because it was $1 and it looked good enough? Then the next morning it melts onto your eggs the first time you use it. You're standing there staring at it like, well, I'm either throwing this all out or eating polymer for breakfast, right? So you look at the spatula and think, hey, it was only $1. But then you realize you just poisoned your eggs and now there's a mess to clean up you didn't plan on. Using cheap things can quickly turn something enjoyable into a messy pain in the ass. But none of that would have happened if you had the all-steel spatula, the one that lasts, looks better with age, and you could probably take into battle as a weapon if you had to. I have a spatula like that for my grill in the backyard. If a bear came out of the woods to attack me, I could defend myself with it. Guys, the real enemy here isn't your mindset, it's your circumstance. It's what you're surrounded by all day long. Society wants to put men into quiet servitude, where we do our required job but don't stand out. We live in a society that is working hard to make us men unimportant and disposable. This anti-male pressure is all around us and affecting our thinking and our actions. Fighting this off is like swimming in a pool and trying not to get wet. The result of decades of this culture is that men are turning flimsy, unreliable, and struggling after the first test of heat in life. But you can't flip life burgers with a melting spatula, dude. Men are still undeniable main drivers of a healthy society. It's crazy how badly we're going in the wrong direction, but this stops with you. Don't buy into that dollar store mindset that whispers, you're good enough, you've done your part, you've earned your rest. That little voice kills your ambition and stops you from becoming great. Society's trying to convince you that comfort is the reward, when really comfort is slow death. Every time you say you're too old, too tired, too busy to grow, you're lowering your own price tag and feeding a lopsided culture that's happy to keep men small, quiet, and easy to use. But what if you increased your knowledge and ability so much that you stood above the normal men in the superstore? You could raise your price substantially, and people would still want to take you home. You've turned yourself into a high-end item, getting premium shelf space. You're even being sold at the luxury boutique stores. Now, this all may sound far-fetched and silly, but why not make this your reality? Why not gain more knowledge and skills? Why not raise your value? Why not become expensive? Is there a downside to being an expensive human being? Nope. Becoming a more valuable, high-caliber man will enhance and enrich your everyday experiences. You'll live more fully in the moment, making your life more vivid and purposeful. Your second 50 years will become an adventure as you expand the possibilities of your reality. You will become more interesting to the people around you. With your new raised value, they'll want to hear what you have to say and see what you're doing with your upgraded abilities. You'll draw in attractive, more interesting people to your life, not because you're copying them, but because you have something real to offer. Work skills that got us through our 30s and 40s won't serve us well in our 60s and beyond. Life's going to change in your second 50 years, and you must be prepared to change with it. If you play this right, your 50s can be a launch pad for new knowledge, reinvention, and massive growth. Now is the time to upgrade your product description and grow into the best version of yourself. Here's a question. If you went to a party filled with high-value people, how many different conversations could you stay involved in? How many people would actually want to talk with you? Would you fit in? Or would you stick out as an outsider with nothing to contribute? High-value people are interesting because they're doing interesting things with their lives. This is an easily copied equation. I've seen this 1,000 times in my clinics. Two men walk in with the same injury, the same pain, and the same odds. One comes in sharp, engaged, self-educated on his problem, still ready to learn. He asks questions and he does the work. The other guy strolls in late, half listening, looking for shortcuts. This is the guy that blames everything and everyone and never owns his situation. 1 month later, the first guy is stronger and moving like he's almost recovered. The other guy is stuck and still making excuses. Which one do you think gets my full attention when time's tight? Well, the one who values himself enough to learn and do the work. Because when you treat yourself like you're worth it, other people will treat you that way too. Here are some steps to raise your price tag this week. First, stop being boring. If your nightly routine looks like sitting on the couch and scrolling on your phone or numbing out with endless streaming, you're literally selling yourself on the damaged clearance rack. Free up your time and learn something new. Read a book, listen to a podcast, or take an online course on things that interest you. Start filling your brain with high-value information. Learn about things that are going to benefit your life. Remember, you're raising your value for you, not for society or anyone else. Second, put in the time to acquire a new skill. Upgrade your abilities and fill your life with new action. It's a humbling experience to go through the process of first sucking at something, slowly persisting, not quitting, still kind of sucking, and finally getting good at it. Every man should go through this challenging process over and over throughout his life. This will keep you sharp, focused, and mentally hungry deep into your later decades. And here's your challenge. Tonight, look in the mirror and ask yourself a simple question. If I was for sale, would people want to buy me? And more importantly, what would my price tag be? Now, if that question stings a little, good. That's the part of you that's tired of being passed over and invisible. Don't lower your price tag to get picked. Instead, raise your standards so high that only people who truly value you can afford your time, energy, or your attention. Be the premium version of yourself that no one can ignore. And finally, every night when you go to bed, ask yourself, what did I add to my value today? Now, if you don't have an answer, fix that tomorrow. Brother, if this message resonates with you, then you're exactly who I built Second 50 Strong for. Subscribe and stick around because we're freight training forward with the Second 50 Strong missions. And if you want a deep dive into raising your value, you can check out my book, Grow or Die, on Amazon. I wrote it exactly for you. Look, the reality is, we're all on the shelf in the giant superstore of life. The higher your value, the higher your price tag is, which gives you a more meaningful life, better experiences, richer personal connections, and a deeper sense of purpose. Gaining new knowledge and getting new skills grows an exciting 50 years that will make your life an adventure in your 70s 80s, and beyond. So go for it. And remember, most men fade, but you're not most men.